I moved into my new apartment a year ago. It was an old building with faded bricks and rusty balconies, but it was cheap. That's all I cared about. The rent in the city was crazy, and this place was a miracle. It had squeaky floors and doors that didn't always shut properly, but it was home. Everything was fine until last week. I was shifting my bed to make space for a new bookshelf when I noticed something strange. A thin line on the wall, almost hidden by the old wallpaper. It wasn't a crack. It was too straight, too perfect. I ran my fingers along the line, feeling a chill run down my spine. Why was there a door frame here? My hands shook as I pressed my ear to the wall and knocked. It sounded hollow. For a moment, I thought about calling the landlord. But then I remembered how he always brushed off my complaints about the plumbing or the heating. He'd probably laugh at me or say I was imagining things. So I grabbed a screwdriver and started prying at the edges. The old paint chipped away easily, like it had been hiding the secret for years. Finally, the door creaked open. My heart pounded as I stared at the darkness beyond. My apartment was on the ground floor. There shouldn't be stairs leading down, but there they were. A narrow staircase swallowed by shadows. I knew I should have walked away, called someone, done anything but step inside. But something pulled me in. Maybe it was the curiosity, or maybe it was the feeling that this was meant to be found. The air was heavy and smelled of rot. Dust danced in the beam of my flashlight as I crept down the steps. My breathing was too loud, my hands trembling so much I almost dropped my phone. At the bottom, I found a small, windowless room. The walls were covered in damp, peeling wallpaper. In the center of the room was a single wooden chair facing the far wall. And on that wall, pictures, hundreds of them, pinned with rusty nails. Some were black and white, others were faded with age. They were all of people, people staring directly at the camera. Some smiled, some looked terrified, some looked broken. My stomach twisted. My hand was shaking so badly now that I could barely hold my phone steady. And then I saw them. The last row of photos. They were all of me, sleeping, eating, sitting on my couch, going to work. My chest tightened. My head spun. I stumbled backward, knocking over the chair with a loud crash. The sound echoed like a scream. I bolted up the stairs, my legs barely working, my breath coming in shallow gasps. I slammed the hidden door shut and shoved my bed against it, as if that could erase what I'd just seen. I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at the wall, waiting for something to burst through. The next morning, I called my landlord, pretending I had a leak in my room. When he arrived, I made sure to watch his face as he inspected the wall. "There's nothing wrong with this wall," he said, rubbing his hand over the smooth wallpaper. "But there was a door," I whispered. "A staircase. A room." He looked at me like I was crazy. "This wall is solid. You're probably just tired. Maybe you had a nightmare." He left, but I couldn't stay there another minute. I packed a bag and left almost everything behind. I just wanted to be somewhere safe. But last night, in my new apartment, I got a text from an unknown number. No words, just a single photo, a picture of me, sleeping in my new bed. I stared at the photo until my vision blurred. Someone had been in my room. They had stood over me while I slept. My hands trembled as I blocked the number and threw my phone across the room. But it didn't matter. They had found me. I couldn't stay. I packed another bag, this time stuffing in every bit of clothing and money I had. I booked a cheap hotel across town, kept the lights on all night, and jumped at every small sound. But even that didn't feel safe. The texts kept coming. Different numbers each time, each with new photos. Photos of me hiding in the hotel. Photos of me eating, crying, staring at my own phone in terror. Whoever was doing this didn't want me to be safe. They wanted me scared. I made a choice. I was tired of running, tired of being watched. I returned to my old apartment. This time I brought tools. Heavy ones. I was going to break down that wall until I found that room again. I needed answers. But when I got there, the building was gone. Nothing but rubble and ash. A fire had torn through it the night I left. And on the charred ground where my apartment once stood, there was a single photograph, half burned but clear enough to see. A photo of me, standing right where I was now. I wasn't safe. Not here. Not anywhere. And somehow, deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. But then something changed. The text stopped. For weeks, I heard nothing. I tried to convince myself that maybe whoever was watching me had finally given up. Maybe they'd grown tired of tormenting me. But peace was a lie. One night, I woke up to the sound of my phone vibrating. A new text. It wasn't a photo this time. Just two words, come back. And underneath, a location pin pointing to somewhere far outside the city. A place I'd never been. A place that now, somehow, felt like the only place I could find the truth. It was a trap. I knew that. But if I wanted to end this nightmare, I had no choice. With shaking hands, I booked a bus ticket. Whatever waited for me out there, I would face it, because running had never been the answer. Thank you for joining us today on Golden Tales by Nia. Like, subscribe, and share for more stories like this.